Hello, welcome to this next video. Here we're going to be talking about developing program objectives. And we do that to attempt to measure to what level our program was successful. So in your logic model, you would develop a program with activities and inputs and outputs, and you're going to have some idea of what you want your program to achieve. Here we can use evaluation to measure and determine if that we've accomplished those objectives and those outcomes. So if you have some short, medium, or long-term outcomes, our evaluation is going to help us to determine if you met those planned outcomes. And essentially give us an idea of if a program was successful or not, right? We all want our programs to be successful, but sometimes they might fall short of what was planned or what the expectations were. So a good evaluation could help us to identify points of improvement when we maybe go to run it again next year or to apply for a new grant or whatever it might be. So in doing so, we're going to ask about the best time to start planning your evaluation efforts. The correct answer, of course, is you should be doing an evaluation when you do your program design. So when you're creating your logic model and you're identifying things to put into your program and what the resources are that you need to have it be successful, you need to start thinking about what kind of evaluation that you might do to determine success. Now, as you might expect, we could measure all kinds of things, right? We could measure things like community awareness of a topic, maybe some kind of increase in knowledge or a change in attitude, right? So some kind of a change in appreciation or awareness. We could be looking for a change in action, right? The adoption of a new action or a change in action. And then finally, some kind of larger societal or community change. So some kind of amplification of your activities. Another way to think about this, of course, is short-term, medium-term, and long-term impact, right? So there's a lot of different ways to frame what it is that we're looking to measure. But just know there's no real right answer. These are just kind of different terms that different evaluators use when they discuss these things. All right, let's dive into developing objectives. And again, objectives really can be thought of as statements or sentences. So here's a really general format of what an objective might look like. This audience is equipped with this knowledge to engage in this behavior, resulting in this situation. So you might notice here that we have obviously your target group that you're working with, and you're looking at medium, short-term, long-term, different kinds of impact, right? Knowledge, behavior, or a large-term situational or societal change. And your objectives might have all of these things in them. They might have just short-term. They might have long-term. There's really, there's a good framework and some best practices around this, but there's no real, right or wrong answer. It's just kind of what you need to do at the time. So, of course, we can't talk about objectives without discussing SMART objectives. And these are all things that you're definitely familiar with from previous coursework or previous jobs or in your extension job currently. When we think about objectives, we want to make them specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. The more of these you can get into your objective, the better your objective is going to be at identifying success or not, right? Identifying if an objective was met or if what you intended or hoped to happen actually happened. So the more of these you can pepper into your objective and later on your indicators, the more successful that you're going to be. All right, let's look at some examples. These may resonate with you in a way that sort of the general format might not. All right, let's say you're an ag educator and you have a course or a program about the spotted lanternfly. So an objective for you might be, because of this session, participants will be better able to identify the SLF at all phases of its life cycle, eggs, nymphs, and adults. So that is what you're hoping to achieve with your program. It could be an informational session, it could be a talk with farmers, but that is your objective. Let's say you are involved in nutrition or FCS work. After the Dining with Diabetes series, participants will report an increase in the number of days that they engage in healthy behaviors. So Dining with Diabetes teaches a lot about healthy behaviors. And you would like to see that your audience do those things more often, right? From 2 days to 5 days or 4 days to 7 days a week. So again, getting pretty specific, getting pretty time bound. All right, let's say that you are involved in 4-H. So an objective might be 4-H members leading the civic engagement initiative will strengthen their project management skills. So you have some 4-H leaders, you have a curriculum that you've developed, which I really teach some of those skills around project management, and you would like them to strengthen those skills. So to go from low skills to high skills. And then finally, let's say you work in a county office and it's your job to sign people up for programming. And your current system of registration isn't very good, so you develop a new one. So your objective for you might be community members will be more satisfied with the new online registration system than the previous version. So what you're looking for here is the development of a new system, and then looks like maybe some kind of satisfaction survey or a discussion with users of the old program and the new program to find out if it's better. Was success achieved? Did you create a better system that has more satisfaction? So once your objectives are created, we need to attach indicators to those things. Now, indicators are the evidence or the specific measures that indicate what you're looking for, right? You may think of these as, they could be quantitative, so really concrete numbers or proportions. An increase from a pre-test score to a post-test score, or the proportion or percentage of kids who are doing one behavior for your program and after your program. They can also be qualitative. So in discussions, you're collecting lots of data, and people are talking to you about how their lives have changed because of your program, right? So not necessarily hard numbers, but you're getting a lot of qualitative evidence to support the success of your program. So again, indicators are what we use in evaluation as measures or evidence to really sort of measure the impact of a program and if that impact is what you had intended it to be. So some examples, right? You might want to see an increase in the number of partnerships or a reduction in application rates on crops. Perhaps you're looking for an increase in the percentages of acres, or participants who come into your program who have no savings goals set, and their finances after your program are much more robust and much sturdier, much on a better path, right? So these are the kind of things we're looking for. So, 50%, 80%, an increase in 5 days a week. Those kind of things are thought of as indicators that are tied to your objectives. So to revisit our earlier objectives, let's see what kind of indicators we could create to measure success. All right, so again, after our Spotted Lanternfly program, we were looking for folks to being able to better identify those things, right? And so for me, my indicator of success is that 90% of my audience will report being better at doing these things, right? So I think because of the time that we're spending together and the activities that I'm doing and who my audience is in the first place, I think that 90% is a very good indicator of success. So after our Dining with Diabetes series, again, we're looking through an increase in days of healthy behaviors. This program has 3 main areas of healthy behaviors: exercise, fruit, vegetable consumption, and considering portion sizes. And what I'm looking to do is between the pre-test and the post-test, so they're very time-based, 80% of those folks who come to my program will increase the number of days that they do these things. And that's what I'm looking for as an indicator of success. Back to 4-H. You have 4-H leaders who are engaging in this new program that you have to teach them some skills. You have 8 identified skills as part of your course, and you're looking for 75% of those leaders becoming stronger in at least 4 of those 8 skills. So perhaps they're demonstrating these skills to you, or they are taking a test about these skills, whatever it may be. You have some definition of stronger that you're working with. And then finally, You've developed this new system to register folks for programming in your county. You have improved in 4 main factors: ease of use, completion speed, improved access, and payment options. Those are your targeted improvements. What you would like to see is 85% or more of those folks that are using that program registration system are more satisfied with the new one than the old one. So you're finding people who have used both systems, and you're presenting them with some kind of satisfaction survey, perhaps, or doing interviews to find out if it's improved or hasn't improved, right? All right, so a quick takeaway, just to reiterate this point: these measures of evaluation need to be tied to the objectives which you develop during your program design process, right? So you've gone from logic model, developing the program design, to developing some measures that are tied directly to your logic model, and then developing these indicators, numbers, portions, percentages that are directly tied to those objectives.